Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for the Pico Fly Pi and a Switch. Pi as a mod chip for the Switch, whatever you want to call it. It's out. Now, a lot of work's been done on this. I've very loosely been following this thread here. Switch on over. Boom. Over here on GBA Temp, the lads have been working very hard at this. A lot of information to sift through. But it's finally here, and allegedly it works in Haas, which is the OS for the Nintendo Switch. Now you're going to want to come in here, find the latest file. I will leave you to your own devices. It is going to be a .pdf file, and you are going to need to have file extensions on, like show file extensions, and you delete the PDF portion of it before you flash it. This isn't going to be a very hand-holdy from noob to pro video. This is very much just going to be a quick we're just going to go over the little nuances here. I'm expecting you've installed one of the previous ones. I'll show you some diagrams, but this isn't going to be a solder porn video. Maybe we'll do one of those soon, but just wanted to get the information out there, and it will self-destruct in a few days. So if you want to see this in the future, go on over to Odyssey. Feel free to download and repost this video. In the future, monetize it if you want. I don't care. Do what you want, but this will be available on my Odyssey. So yeah, we're gonna go over the nuances. So we're gonna get this flashed, and we're going to remove the buttons. We'll remove USB-C, and I believe you can remove the voltage regulator, but I'm not 100% on that, so we're not going to do that in this video. Let me know if you how your results are if you did that, but for now I'm just going to remove USB-C and the buttons, but we're going to want to flash it first, so let's do that. Okay, so we're going to start by programming this bad boy here, and in order to do it, we're going to hold reset, plug it in. I've got a button on an on-off button on my USB hub, so we'll turn it on. Oh, wrong one. Turn it on. And then release. Cool. Okay, so I've got the UF2 file here. And remember, when you get this file, it's going to be .uf2.pdf, and you're going to need to remove the .pdf. My Pico is being detected here, so we just drag this over, and it's that simple. Okay, so we are going to need to remove these, as well as USB-C. So before we do all that, I'm going to add a bit of some low melt just to get it flowing here, and flux. Okay, I want to see if I can do the buttons with just the iron here. It should be totally doable. Yep. And you know what? Since I heard the, I'm not 100% if the VREG can go or not. I've heard that it can, so I'm gonna give that a try. I have more of these in the bank if we can't get it working without this VREG in here. Cool. And we're gonna need heat for the for USB-C. Okay, so I'm doing 365. 70% airflow. Alright. Okay, went ahead and wicked the pads. And we're gonna clean this guy up real quick. Okay, so here's a diagram right here. So as you can see, we've got all the same pads here. We got ground 3.3 volts. But these data lines here, D0, command, and clock, those all have SMD resistors on them. Now, from what I've been told, you can use the following values. Okay, so the recommended resistor value is 47 to 240 ohms. I'm gonna go ahead and do 47. It seems to be the meta, so I'll give that a shot first. Okay, well, thankfully, I have one of these or quite a few of these component books in different sizes. There's a 0603 resistor book, so I've got a 47 right here. You can see the should be like 470. Yep. Cool. So we're just gonna need 3 of these. If you're gonna do quite a few of these, you might want to get them in bulk. Get a whole bunch. Not cheap. Or not expensive at all, that is. So we need 3. Now most seem to do everything. They don't do reset. I've seen some diagrams where they do put a resistor on the reset line. Most do not, so I'm just going to do the 3 to start with. Okay. Okay, so we do 29, 28, 27. So yeah, the 4th from the top, if you want to count it. All right. So we got them here. It's not the, they're not perfectly aligned, but that'll get the job done. And then the only other little nuance here is the CPU cable. Obviously, it's not going to plug in to this. There's no ZIF connector on here. So we're going to need to do a wire. just one wire. Okay, I should also say, if you really want to save money, you don't need a flex cable. Some people have done it. Check the thread. I believe you just need, I believe these are MOSFETs. You just need one of them. You wire it to the capacitor. Big pain in the ass. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a flex cable. And what we do is count 3 down, and we solder a wire in between them from the arrow. So whatever one you're using, find the white arrow and count the third one down, solder one wire in between the 2 pins there. So I want to use the 36 AWG. I believe I've done this with I believe I've done it with 30 before, but okay. Well, there we go. We got them. That is, so again, here's the arrow. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are bridged. And that is that. One wire between 3 and 4. Those are bridged together. And bada bing, bada boom, that wire. Well, obviously, you will install the CPU flex like normal. And that wire will come out and attach to CPU, and the rest pretty easy to figure out. So let's go through some diagrams here. Before I forget, don't forget to insulate this somehow. I really like UV resin. Just make sure it's nice and clean and dry. Put some UV resin on it, let it cure, and boom, you got some nice insulation. Electrical tape. I wouldn't recommend solder mask because that stuff's very thin, but you know, use your brain, just insulate it. You don't want this hanging out. And again, it could be any, so if we're doing a light today, so it can be a V2, it can be a light, it can be an OLED cable. You just check the arrow, go 3 from that, well, the middle 2, so whatever. If you have a V1, you're obviously going to want a V1 flex cable. Same rules apply. And yeah, it doesn't matter. The light cables are a bit annoying because they pop out on the left side. So it's going to be routed a little weird. V2 or the OLED cables, if you're getting it specifically for this, you're going to want one of those too. I kind of like the V2 the most. OLED does get closer, but it's totally up to you, whichever one you want to use. Just yeah, V1's going to need a V1 cable, and then anything V2, light, OLED it's all interchangeable. So that's about it. Let's get into the various diagrams. Now, for a very good source of diagrams here, I recommend Aesthetics GitHub. It's right here at the top. I mean, you could figure it out and look it up. Very great channel. Give him a follow if you're not already. But you're just going to want to look at it for the revision you're going in. So we've got SX Lite, we've got the core, and okay, these are all OLED. This one's for V2. this is for the light here. So that covers just about everything. V1 should be the pinout. Same pinout, I believe, if you're wiring it up. Don't hold that as gospel, but since we're doing a light... Okay, and since we're doing a light, it's pretty simple. For the wires, this is where the flex would be. So we've got boom, DAT0, clock, yellow CMD, got 3.3 volts, and you can pull ground from any old ground. Here he's got it on coming from this capacitor, and then the flex cable with the wire. Oh, it's nice, he's even got the translucent one here coming out. So with the V2 cable, it will be popping out and coming around, plugging in at the bottom. So just compare these, that 0 clock, CMD, 3.3 volts, and compare that against this D0 CMD, clock, reset, CPU. Pretty self-explanatory. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire this guy up and we'll test it out. Well, alright, ladies and gentlemen, I know this isn't the cleanest install. This has been kind of a test switch light that I've had floating around for a bit, but everything's wired up. Resistors are on here. This is a light cable already wired up. It's coming from there. So if we had used the V1 cable that we wired up earlier in the video, it would be routed from here, keep it all nice and in the same place. But this was already in here, so this is what I used. Yeah, it needs some cleaning up. I'm not even going to put the heatsink back on yet. Plugged it in. I'm going to try turning it on and see what happens. I have not tested yet. This will be my first reaction as well as yours. So got a white light, a blue light. It's pulsing. Green light. The fuck? Dude. Okay. Beautiful. Let's turn that off. Quick button press. Did the trick. Let's try it again. Solid blue to green. That's glitching pretty quickly, if I do say so myself. Now I want to clean up the board a little bit, and with the wires, it's obviously got a lot of slack. The thing with this is I didn't want to get them super taut because you wire them up and then we got to put the heatsink back on. So I'm not going to put thermal paste on yet, but just so you guys get the idea, we don't want to crush these wires, so I want to get the heatsink underneath the wire, yeah, get this lip, get the wires above the heatsink so they don't get crushed just like that. Yeah, that's the idea there. So now we just need to add thermal paste, or clean it up, add some thermal paste, put it back together. I'm going to off camera get an SD card set up. This is a kiosk unit, so I'm going to need to use some special kiosk files to get into Atmosphere anyways, but I'll see you once I got that all set up and booting. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's put back together. Got the software working, and here's what I needed to do. So this is a kiosk unit, so I'm using a custom build of Atmosphere that needs to run off Fusey primary. So instead of using the launch configs, I'm going to be booting from payloads fusey.bin, but it wasn't working. I had thought I may have been going crazy with the files. I was not. I needed to run this. So you need to get this Picofly toolbox bin, and there's a file called unlock.bin, and you come in here. Unlock.bin goes on the root of the SD card. You come in here, and then that's it. You should be able to get into boot up custom firmware once you've unlocked it. Now, I don't know if future versions are going to come unlocked. I was under the impression that's what was supposed to be going on here, but I had to manually unlock it. So come on in, boot it up. Let's go payloads, fusey.bin, atmosphere. And there she is. I'm going to have to set this up. But this is a kiosk unit that was initially... So anyways, I got it all set up. So this is, since this is a kiosk unit, if I, when I got it, it had the could not start software error because it had been formatted. So you literally need to mod it to fix it. So we're booting. The console is booting. So that means it's fixed. And if we go into album, would you look at that? It's a working. Yeah. So this is not witchcraft. The Pi is working fully as a mod chip. No, we'll see. Follow me on Twitter if something goofy happens or there's weird issues that come up with the firmware. I'll post about it there. Again, this will be backed up on Odyssey. Feel free to download, share this video, do what you want with it. I don't care. It will self-destruct eventually. So, yeah, that's it. Very, very cool shit. I don't know what else to say. I mean, mod chips are certainly going to be much cheaper now. We'll see if we get some custom ones that are made off this. We'll see. Very cool shit. Thanks for watching. See you later. Don't let us back, let's say what to do.